I'm gonna bring in the next comedian. He's a very funny guy. Y'all give it up for Matt Hahn, everyone. Matt Hahn.
All right. It's good to be in the nice part of town. Right? I myself, I'm from A-Leaf. And don't rob me afterwards, please. Kind of ghetto. It's a little ghetto. I grew up kind of poor. I had a really shitty car. You guys know about shitty cars? Right, yeah, it's in the parking lot. But my car was so bad that the airbag system was manual. Like, it's not funny either, alright. But that's why growing up, like, I was always jealous of the black kids I grew up with, that grew up around me, because we were all poor. But black people, they're the only ones that can pull off poor. Like, they can make being poor cool somehow. It's weird. It's like life gave them lemons, and they made Kool-Aid, which is amazing. And convenient, if you know anything about black people. They dye their hair with it and shit. But black people, they can make anything cool. Like, it's not just, you know, there's some shit that we can't pull off. Like Asians, we can't pull off. Like, for example, bad grammar, right? Because Asians, we naturally have bad grammar, but we can't pull it off. When a black guy goes, I ain't got no problem, that's a double negative. And you're not allowed to say that, but it sounds cool, right? It's in the rap songs. The kids are copying it. Like, a Chinese guy goes, me no problem, nobody's copying that. And it's not just like the gangsters or whatever that are cool. All black people are cool, including the black professionals, like the black lawyers and doctors. Because have you guys ever heard Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton give a speech? He's up there, he's always like, this is intolerable, indefensible, inexcusable, unacceptable. Like, he's busting the flow up there, he's rhyming and shit. And I went to my doctor the other day, who happened to be black, and he was like, Mr. Hahn, you got meningitis, hepatitis, halitosis, and AIDS. And I was like, are you serious, doctor? You think AIDS rhymes with halitosis? That flow was whack, son. Get your degree, son. But the most amazing thing I learned growing up around black people about black people is that, I don't know if you guys know this, but all black people are telepathic. Like, they can just communicate with their minds just by thinking it to you, right? Like, every time I see my friend Jamal, I'm like, hey Jamal, what did you do today? And all he does is look me right in the eye and just goes, you know. Like, he's trying to convince me that I already know, and it works. I'm like, damn Jamal, I do know. How'd you do that? How did I know that you sat around and smoked some crack, you hollered at some bitches? How did I know that, Jamal? But there are lots of amazing people in Houston. Hispanics are pretty amazing, right? Any Hispanics in here? Yeah? Right. Because they're like the hardest working people ever. Like, it's 6 a.m., they're already at work at the Home Depot, you know? And it's weird. It's weird because Home Depot has a place for them to wait at. It's nice, it's covered, it says contractor pickup, but they're always like right on the curb, so they can yell at you first. Right? And every time I drive in to Home Depot, they're always like, hey, Chino, I'm pretty good with the hammer. Like, is that a good way to look for a job? To refer to your prospective employer by his race? Hey, Chino? That's a little rude. Like, because, you know, when I'm looking for a job, I'm not like, hey, Whitey, I know JavaScript. I'm pretty good with the computer. But you hear the Mexican immigrant story, and it's pretty heartwarming. I hear these stories about how some of them have to swim across the Gulf of Mexico, how some of them have to sneak across the border, right? But believe it or not, the Chinese immigrants have it harder. Because have you guys ever tried to swim across the Pacific Ocean? That is a bitch, you know? And like, if a Chinese family sneaks across the Chinese border, they're like, man, how did we end up in North Korea? This is a downgrade. Why did we escape communism for super communism? But there are other aspects of the Mexican immigrant story that's very, like, admirable. Like, for example, you hear these stories about how they save up every penny they have, right? They go to Walmart, they buy stuff, and they ship it back to their families in Mexico. But again, the Chinese immigrant has it harder, because if a Chinese immigrant goes to Walmart, buys stuff, and ships it back to his family, he gets a letter back, and it's like, thank you for shipping me this, but I made this last week at the factory. And like, if I knew you were just going to ship it back to me, I would put a little bit more effort into it. The quality is kind of low. Chinese immigrants like, damn, smart-ass 70-year-old nephew. Must be getting all this attitude from the other kids in the factory. It's weird being Asian in America, because there are stereotypes, but they're kind of weird. Like, they don't really bother me. Because I don't know if you guys know this, you guys are just making fun of nerds. All your stereotypes about Asians, because all the Asians that come to America, they're either graduate students or like descendants of graduate students. Okay? So if you think about it, it makes sense. All your stereotypes, good at math, can't drive, small penis. You guys are just making fun of nerds. Okay, but that last one, that small penis one, that one hits home, right? Because every guy's already self-conscious about their penis size, and you throw that stereotype out there. I had an Asian friend, and because of that stereotype, he was really intimidated. He was dating this girl at the time who was a single mother, and her child was half black. Okay, and because of that small penis stereotype, he's like, man, what if I get in there and I find out the black guy has stretched it all out for me already? And I'm like, shouldn't you be more worried about the fact that she's given birth before? She's a single mother. Like, I don't care how black you are, it's not going to be the size of a baby. It's not going to have the vaginal stretching power of giving birth. That's why next time somebody calls you baby dick, that's a compliment, guys. Oh, me baby dick? Awesome. I think you're giving me a little bit too much credit, though. Maybe more like a premature birth baby. But like I said, it's weird being Asian. Growing up around Asian people, like, they're all a bunch of overachievers. You know, they're all a bunch of nerds. And then, like, they're always using, like, SAT vocabulary all the time, okay? So then one day I was like, you know what? I need to brush up on my vocabulary. So I busted out the dictionary. And if you're learning new words from the dictionary, you can't start from the beginning. Because there's like 50 pages of table of contents, and like the first few pages are all like full of abbreviations and stuff. So what I did was I flipped right to the middle, right? But then all my sentences came out as like, man, those intrepid inoculations were insipid and inimical. My friends were like, what the hell is that? Is that alliteration or something? And I was like, what the hell is alliteration? I knew I should have studied the A's. But that's why then I went on and I tried to learn words, new vocabulary more naturally by reading more, you know, and I didn't read a lot, so I went ahead and bought a book full of short stories. And it was amazing because I read the first short story of this book. It was titled Introduction. And it's about like an author's struggle to put together a book. You know, he's really thankful and shit. And like it's a book with like a lot of variety because I didn't read these stories, but like later on I saw there was a short story on the topic of bankruptcy called like Chapter 11. Yeah, it's an awesome book. It's called Chicken Soup for Dummies by Rachel Ray. And it made me feel really smart because at the beginning of every short story, they would have like an estimate about how long it takes to read. And every time it said preparation time 20 minutes, I would finish the story in 5. It's a cookbook. Thank you. All right. But it kept talking about food, so it made me hungry, and I decided to go buy a recipe book, and I bought the Anarchist Cookbook. Best meth I've ever had, guys. Magnifique, okay. I haven't gotten to the more advanced sections, like the baking, you know, how to make crack, but I should. But it's weird. I still can't figure out why crack is so bad for you. Because isn't it mostly baking soda? Right? Shouldn't it like soak up all the bad odors, make it so your shit doesn't smell for a week? Apparently it's terrible for you. I like the fact that there are more video games out now. That's not right. I like the fact that I like video games, but I don't like the new video games with the motion detection. You know, like the Wii or the Microsoft Kinect with the camera, right? Because back in the day, if I pressed A and B at the same time, my character would do a backflip. Now I actually have to do a backflip, which I can't do. And like, it's weird that, you know, all the games are too realistic, I think. I went ahead and bought NBA 2K14, okay? And I guess the camera saw how tall I was, so the only position I could play as was, you know, the guy that's not that tall on the basketball team. He like distributes to other players, you know what I'm talking about? The water boy. And it's too realistic. I was playing career mode, and like it took me. I've been playing it for 6 months, and all I've gotten is a 25-cent raise. And
One time, baby.
that's terrible. That's a new one, guys. So I started working at a new place, and I bumped in this girl that I hadn't seen in a long time. Like I would bump into her about like once a week or so. I met her in high school, but I hadn't seen her in years. Okay, but it's weird because every time I would see her, she would get fatter. You know, like every week I would bump into her, she just got bigger and bigger. And I had recently read that depression causes weight gain. So then one day I was like, hey, are you okay? Are you depressed or anything? And she was like, I'm pregnant. And I was like, oh, that is depressing. I should get that taken care of. So I'm single, and not for you, Jaffer. And I struggle with women right before I have sex with them. It's a physical struggle. Like she's struggling too. Some people might call that rape. Like the police or something, I don't know. But not me, because I guess what it comes down to is I'm a fighter, not a lover. No way, I'm a fighter then a lover. Slightly more descriptive. But I am bad with women, and I think the problem is I like women that know what they want. Okay? But those women never want me. So what I do is I have a strategy. I lower their expectations, and then I impress them back to normal. Okay? Because I have a hard time impressing women. I'm not that tall. I got a big head, you know. Like, but hey, at least I know I don't have cancer. Yeah, that is the official test. But so what I do, I lower their expectations and impress them back to normal. And I've gotten so good at this that I've condensed it all down into one move. Okay, so if I see like a hot chick at the bar, all right, this is what I do. I go. Just kill me. Oh, all right, guys. My name is Matt Hahn. Thank you very much. Jaffer.